Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for my live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 1. I have forgot to finish writing the little ticker that runs down at the bottom, so I will just quickly support it, finish it, and not add too much extra text to it, and add that to you. Can you see me? Hopefully you can see me. Now this is working on my end as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to me being frustrated. Welcome to me being annoyed by Chelsea not getting a dub. What a nightmare of a Sunday. What a nightmare of a Sunday. I mean, the typical game that you could have seen coming against Nottingham Forest. Low block. We struggle against a low block. It's a kryptonite. We concede from a set piece. But to make things worse, Madueke may be injured. We'll find out more. Colwill might be injured. We'll find out more. Fofana suspended against Liverpool at Anfield. Cucurella suspended against Liverpool at Anfield. So we might have our entire centre-back three, essentially, because Cucurella kind of plays centre-back, doesn't he? Suspended or not available against Liverpool at Anfield. On top of not winning. How did Palmer not score? How did Nkunku not score? How did Felix not score? Oh my God. To be fair, thank God for Robert Sanchez today because he saved us. He absolutely did save us. And it's not even like that save at the end, the save not long before that. We even had a save earlier, like just before we had actually a big chance. He made a big save as well against Morgan Gibbs-White, I'm pretty sure it was. But in the end, we only come away with 1 point. We only come away with 1 point. I'm once again back on my own doing these post-match streams. So I hope you do enjoy. I'm very much going to involve the entire chat in this stream today. So please get involved. Let me know your thoughts. Ask me questions. Make statements that we can discuss, that we can talk about, because I'm very, very, very much intrigued. I've had a lot of comments here already. Are these a dead game so far? Obviously, don't know when exactly you said that. Enzo needs to be part of the second team. I see nothing worthwhile with him in the team. That's going to be interesting. Home win in 4. One home win in 4, not good enough. Okay. Trust us to lose Cuckoo to his 5th booking out of the Liverpool game. Who will we start there? Vega or Chile? Obviously not Chilwell. Top striker, we win that. Felix and Nkunku headers. Yeah, should have been +3. I agree, should have been. Referee had no control of the game and time wasting by Forest. Yes, it was utterly diabolical how our Forest were time wasting. It was a bit of a disgrace, if I'm being honest. There's also, I just read that Nicholas Jackson is in trouble because there's supposedly a video going around of him slapping a Nottingham Forest player in that little huddle or big huddle towards the end. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Lee then also says, shame we didn't win because the next 4 games are really difficult to get points. See, that's the thing. I think we'll find it easier to get points in these upcoming games than we did tonight. But who knows? We could be wrong. Ashraf, F both goalkeepers today were on drugs. F both goalkeepers today were on drugs. It's true. Both of them were. The fans before equaliser was disgraceful. This club need ultras, new stadium ASAP. Well, the new stadium is just going to make the atmosphere worse, not better, mate. But sure. Big up. Disappointed, man. Yeah, RD. So am I. Guys, how have we let this happen again? It's the same thing every time we play a low block, isn't it? Honestly, like, I was in my group chat, shout out to all the boys, whether it's Ollie, whether it's Dimitar, all the boys that were active in the chat, Mo, Gem. There was a lot of negativity in the first half, and now in the end we didn't win. So obviously I'm sat here also being negative, but I felt during the game it was a bit unnecessarily negative. I still had faith, and I was like, the first half was not good, but it wasn't bad, I thought. And I was confident that the goal would come. Unfortunately, the goal that came was Forest's goal from a free kick that's so unfortunate. Smart by James Ward-Prowse, I will be honest, but I just hate how the refs fall for that. Ward-Prowse and Jackson are both running. Ward-Prowse is much slower than Jackson, so he purposely crosses Jackson's path, makes Jackson essentially trip over Ward-Prowse, fouling him. They get a free kick. From that free kick, they score. Our set-piece defending, by the way, is an absolute disgrace. And considering we hired this Cueva guy, I forget his first name, from Brentford, specifically as a set-piece specialist. Now, maybe it's too early to say this full stop. But so far, and he's been here since July 1st. He didn't join in September. Since we've not got better at set pieces at all. I would argue we've gotten worse at set pieces. And that's a problem. That is a problem. Set pieces are absolute kryptonite. And the combination of set pieces and our opponent playing in a low block, big trouble. Big trouble for us. It's genuinely is a kryptonite. I mean, Nehemiah, sorry if I butcher your name. He says Maresca, I assume, cost us the game. I think that's a little bit harsh. Obviously, we will talk about it. Did the subs come too late and everything? And maybe they did. But there's absolutely no guarantee that if their subs came earlier, we would have won. So, maybe he cost us the game. Maybe obviously not. Jimmy, Spliff TV, got worse. How? Well, I mean, fair enough. Maybe we didn't get worse as such compared to last season, but we certainly didn't get better. But I would argue we the way we play now, okay, when Cucurella's in the team, maybe less so, but especially, for example, against for the team that played against Ghent, where you have Vega as your left back, we dramatically increased the height of physicality in our team compared to last season in that team. And we're equally as bad defending set pieces. Now, sure, I guess we take a real striker out, but still, set pieces are an issue, and we need to fix up. Nearly every single game we concede set pieces. Nearly every single game. I know we had those 3 clean sheets in a row, but still, man, we need to fix that. Maresca first bad day, subs were too late. I agree they were a bit late. I'll talk. You know what? I'll say it right now. My explanation for why the subs happened a bit late. Now, I agree there should have been subs at halftime. There should have been one sub. But I also understand why he didn't make that sub. My logic is, okay, we weren't great, but we were good enough. And what sub would have made sense in that moment? The sub that, in my opinion, would have made sense is taking Enzo off and bringing someone more attacking on. Maybe Joao Felix, maybe Nkunku. Because so many times in the first half, Madueke or Sancho had the ball, and the only people in the box was Jackson and Enzo. Always Enzo. It was never Palmer for some reason. But Palmer dropping way deeper. And Enzo just isn't an option in the box. Like, even if you give him the ball, his shooting isn't great. His positioning in the box isn't great. Jackson in movement against low block defenses is also not fantastic. If you added, Nkunku to that. And I know Nkunku missed the big chance later on, but I didn't think there was much point in coming in for Jackson. We needed both. We needed bigger box presence for how many crosses we put in. And that just didn't come, and that just didn't happen. And then also the other moment where we might have made subs after conceding after 50 minutes, the next moment where we might have made subs is when we scored. And then because we then scored the equaliser, the manager isn't going to make a change straight then, because there's like, okay, momentum shifts. Let's see how the momentum shifts. Maybe these guys get the goal now. You don't make a sub straight after you get the equaliser. You then see what happens, because you need to see, okay, do the opponents adapt? Maybe our sub wouldn't make sense now. So I agree, Maresca made his subs too late, but there was a bit of explanations in my head. In my head, at least. So, what am I seeing? Hello, Daniel. Hope you're well. Fire Red, yes, set-piece are horrible, both defensive and attacking. Yep. Los Cucurella and Fofana for a flip and draw against Nottingham Forest. Disappointed, Nkunku should have started. Toast into. I completely disagree with that. What's happened to Noni at the end? All they said is he ran off limping. Yeah, exactly. I didn't see it either. I would love to know what exactly happened. I would love to know. I didn't see it. All I know is Cucurella got booked. I think Cucurella got booked for the shove before the big huddle, not for what happened in the huddle. And if that's what he got the yellow card for, to be honest, he deserved it. It's a shame we were drawing 10-men Forest. The whole 10-men thing. I honestly, once James Ward-Prowse got sent off, I said it's going to be more difficult now, because they're going to be even more desperate and to sit deep, park the bus. They're even going to less care about potentially getting a winner. They're going to time waste even more. So if anything, I think that red card made the night or the afternoon worse for us than anything. But obviously, I understand that on paper it looks bad. Farseed said, Forest doing insane things with the resources they have. With the resources they have. Look at their transfer window over the last 2 years, bro. They signed nearly as many. They're the closest team to us in terms of number of players signed. I'm not sure if that, like, obviously their resources are on board. Our resources are. But hey, they won at Anfield. They got a point at the bridge. They're not doing badly in that sense, are they? Mason says, hello, mate. Well, he says, hi, bro. That was horrible to watch at times. Maresca was irritating me with the subs. Also, fair enough. We are flipped. Noni and Cole will injured. Is that confirmed now that they're injured? Is that confirmed by anyone? If anyone knows whether this is confirmed yet, Jackson might also get banned for pool game. Apparently, he slapped Morato. Yeah, I heard that as well. We can't be drawing against Forest if we want to get top 4. I mean, we can. We can. Look at how many games we drew unnecessarily last season and still nearly got top 4. But yeah, it's obviously not ideal. We got 2-1-0 draws at home against Palace and against Forest. Shouldn't be happening. Not super surprising, but shouldn't be happening. Can we just hire Benfica sport directors? They got 250 million for Enzo and Felix, laughing all the way to the bank. True. Jackson got lost in the Forest. Not bad. Enzo Fernandez is awful. Bit harsh, but there you go. The keeper made a great save, in all fairness, to Nkunku's jump. I mean, he did, but the header needs to be so good that there is no saving it. Like, it's the same as his header against West Ham 3 weeks ago, however long ago that was. similar header, and he bottled it again, unfortunately. In your opinion, or in my opinion, JC says, them playing 10 men makes it harder for us to score, considering how much more they set back. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you could argue maybe they would have set back the same amount, regardless of, that extra man, but I think they would have committed more men forward when trying to counter, and then if we win the ball back as they try to counter, we might have had something happen to us. He's simply not suited to the rigors of the Premier League. I assume that's about Enzo Fernandez. How bad were those back-to-back corner kicks from Enzo? How bad were those corner kicks from Palmer in the first half? Weirdly, no one mentions it. Felix wasteball brings us into the team, no end product. Yeah, I mean, at least Villa drop points. True. The media will go crazy. I doubt that. It's just really annoying, like that we don't have a game on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday now. That we have an international break now is obviously Fofana. Fofana is very awful. How on earth have you come to that conclusion then? I thought he had a really good game, other than getting himself booked really unnecessarily at the end. I wouldn't even say unnecessarily. They were countering us, and if he doesn't make that foul, who knows how big a chance they get? I'm just saying. But yeah, subs did probably come a bit too late. But like I say, because the moment where the subs probably would have happened, we scored, that delayed the subs. But yeah, it should have still happened earlier. Couldn't have beat Forest and Palace at home. Not good. No, it's true. We won one game at home this season. We won more games at home this season. Just in the league, we won one game at home this season. But yeah, no, absolutely. But we only lost one as well. Like, especially the old days. We had a lot of draws back in the old days as well sometimes. I knew dropping points, Noni is being selfish. I disagree with that completely. Something to keep an eye on is that Kobo left injured, as did Noni, in addition to the Cucurella and Fofana band. Yep, I mentioned that. We could be playing Liverpool with a massively changed team. We could be playing Liverpool with a Conference League team. Does Sanchez saves better than the Sales ones, to be fair? I mean, not better than the double save on Palmer. But that was outrageous, especially after he faked the head injury just to get the ref to stop the game, which pissed me off even more. I can't even lie. Sad to say, but Enzo is never going to get any better than this. It's in his third year. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm just trying to respond to most of your comments. John says, should have just taken Enzo and Fofana for Nkunku. What is your problem with Fofana? What did, in your opinion, Fofana do wrong? He wasn't at fault for the goal that we conceded. He defended incredibly well aggressively. I'm really surprised. We need to withdraw Nkunku from the international break, in my opinion. Absolutely not. He needs game time and get sharpness. That's what he needs at that level. I'm confused here. What the hell was Cucurella booked for? He was the victim. I think he shoved the guy before the whole huddle happened. And to be honest, he kind of deserved it. Hi, mate. Just dropping in to say hello. Big up to the chat. Big up, Ollie. Thank you for saying hello. We hope you're well. For me, Enzo must be dropped. The problem is, for who do you drop him? For what? For Nkunku? To attack it. For Joao Felix? To attack it. Doesn't drag back enough. So who do you put in there? Who? Well, Carney Chukwuemeka or Dewsbury Hall. Do you really want to start Dewsbury Hall there all the time? I don't. And we know Carney isn't being used. So, but yeah, please think before you comment. Who? Me? Or is that about Fofana? I don't know. I don't feel confident going away Liverpool after the international break. I mean, nah. Without Fofana, without Cucurella, maybe without Kobo, I don't. Finishing poor today. Sancho could have done more today, and Nottingham Forest just played terrorist football. I slightly disagree on Sancho. I think in his role, I mean, I would like him to shoot a couple times more. But I think in principle, he actually filled his role quite well. Lee says, Enzo killed our momentum quite a few times in that match. I wonder why it took Maresca so long to take him off. He also sets up a huge chance for Jackson, and then on the follow-up for Noni and whatever that was out. You know, what happened if Nkunku get injured? Well, what happens if Nkunku gets injured in training at Chelsea? It happens. Folavia, okay. Not sure what you mean, JP. Cucurella shouted at the assistant referee. He deserved that yellow. I don't think he got booked for that. I think he got booked for pushing the player before, but I could be wrong, obviously. I hope in a few weeks we look back at this game as a blessing in disguise. We will see some other players in other positions, and I think we get something at Liverpool. I mean, maybe. Enzo was there today, should have put on Nkunku. I kind of agree, but don't you guys think that if you bring on Enzo for Nkunku for Enzo, and that was my suggestion, do that at half-time, but also very much being aware that that's risky because it makes us much more susceptible to counterattacks. And on top of that, obviously Caicedo got himself stupidly booked in the first half, which made, bringing Nkunku on for Enzo even less of a valid and a feasible option, because if you did that, you have Enzo Caicedo defending the midfield on his own, already on a yellow. That screams getting sent off. Do you know what I mean? Lavia slots in easily for Enzo, or is he injured? No, he doesn't. Do you want Lavia as a number 10, bro? I mean, Enzo shouldn't be a number 10 in the first place, but certainly Lavia shouldn't. Play Caicedo and Lavia, take out Enzo, but that doesn't work. Like, obviously, you can shift the whole team around, but not just that simple change. That doesn't then work. Would rather Lavia partner Caicedo. I get that, but the way we shift the team, it doesn't work that way. True, but with that low of a block, we should have taken that risk. I agree. I agree. And maybe that change would have come after 60 minutes if it was still 0-0. But because they scored after 50, then we could equalize relatively short, like around the 60-minute mark. Then he leaves it too long then, because the first subs essentially happened around the 80-minute mark, didn't they? Referee is awful. Enzo lost again. We didn't lose, mate. Or did you mean Enzo Fernandez was lost on the pitch? We need to either clarify whether we call Maresca only Maresca, or we make sure we clarify if we mean Enzo Fernandez, the midfielder, not the manager. I knew we struggle against low block. Yeah. Also, Jackson need to learn to control his temper. Yeah, I haven't seen a clip of it yet. I think you have to shift the team around regardless. Enzo isn't providing enough right now to justify playing. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But if I get to the lineup sheet, and I'm intrigued, if you're sticking around for long enough, I'm intrigued to what you think of that. So currently we play like this, and that's how you play like today. You could also make an argument that we should have just shifted it to that a little bit more as well. Maybe that would have helped us being a bit more of a threat going forward, but maybe it would have also hindered us or made us more susceptible to counters, maybe. But we play like this. So if you then take Enzo out for Lavia, let's pretend this is Lavia, okay? You don't want either Caicedo or Lavia here. So then, sure, you can play a midfield 3 and do this like we do in a lot of other games as well, the 3-3-4. But you don't want this setup against the low block, because then the whole point of how Maresca plays football is he wants to be able to outman the opponent in areas of the pitch. Like this, he tries to outman them in midfield. And if we play like this, essentially, he tries to outnumber them in the attacking areas. That's what you shift around. Okay. So sure, you could take Gusto. You could say, okay, you let Palmer come inside, you take Madueke off, you play Nkunku instead, and you play Gusto at right wing and let kind of that be the attacking shape. Sure, you can do that. But do you want to constantly cross from the right to Jackson or Nkunku? Is that what you want us to do? Because I don't. It's just my opinion. Like, I understand everybody will have their own opinion, but I don't think this solves as many issues as people for some reason think it does. For me, it's part of it is also like I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated today, right? Of course I am. And we should have done better, and we could have done better, and we should have won, and we could have won, obviously. But I should have probably made this a bit bigger so you could actually see my whole shifting around. But I think the game that you saw today, it's just part of and I know people hate this terminology, but it's just part of the process. Like, it's normal, this kind of game. Obviously, first of all, we need to fix up conceding from set pieces. That's what we first of all need to fix up from. Because if we don't go 1-0 down, we eventually score a 1-0 and we win the game. But we concede from set pieces nearly every game. And that has nothing to do with Enzo Fernandez as an individual. That has very little to do with any of our individuals. Sure, for example, I thought Gusto defended that set piece really, really, really badly and should have done much better in that situation. But in principle, though, I mean, Oli says Lavia and Caicedo in the pivot and Nkunku and Palmer as the 10s. Yeah, you can do that. But then you have Nkunku wide. Then you have Gusto wide and not Madueke anymore. So, well, currently, the way we play, how's that happen then? That's what I want. The way we currently play, our left side in Sancho is supposed to be the creative side, and our right side with Palmer and Madueke is supposed to be our side looking for goals. Well, Madueke is also supposed to obviously create and cut it back, but in a different way. Madueke is supposed to attack their man and attack the box and try to score. Gusto isn't going to do that. So Gusto is going to shift the whole balance around. In the entire balance will be shifted if Gusto is the right winger instead of Madueke, essentially. So then you probably kind of need to either play Neto, but not even really him. You kind of need to play Mudryk at left wing, because Sancho, if you have Sancho at left wing and Gusto at right wing, then you're not going to have enough goal threat, in my opinion. But yeah, this is a difficult one. Both Gusto and Noni Madueke dropping as well. I completely disagree that Noni Madueke's dropping. I completely disagree. He scored our only goal today, and he was the only one that didn't miss. Now, he missed some, but he was the only one that at least scored one. And you saw by how he scored, why he plays how he plays. Let the man shoot. The more he does it, the less rogue they'll become, in my opinion. Gusto will be better positioned. If he just was 3 steps further back, he gets the header. Or just push the guy like the opponents do to us 1 trillion times in the world. But yeah, uncomfortable conversations around Enzo now. I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I don't get what people think Noni needs dropping, I'll be honest. I agree. It's not like Neto does much. I mean, he had one really good cross, to be fair, to Felix, but he also had a couple of terrible crosses. And I'm not even saying Neto does badly, but Neto doesn't go for goal the way Noni does. And we need that. Especially in games like today. If you played Neto today, people would have said, oh, how could you not have started Noni? I guarantee that's what would have been the case. I absolutely guarantee it. I have not seen a decent cross from Gusto in a while. That's what I'm saying. That's it. The next point as well. So good point, JC. Good point. Let me see if I've seen anything relevant that's been posted since. Yeah. No. Nothing particularly interesting has come out. I guess obviously I could have put the big lineup sheet up, but let's just go with this for now. Again, ladies and gentlemen, be involved in the chat, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this stream with your friends, with whoever, with your nan if you need to. I mean, get them involved. Get them involved. I guess I can very much take the match prediction down because obviously we now know the result. But yeah, shall we just start with the goalkeeper? Because to be fair, there's a lot to praise him for today. Got to be honest, there's a lot to praise Robert Sanchez for today. Now, he nearly cost us with that super bad pass to Fofana quite late in the game. But otherwise, he saved us. He made a number of good saves today. You could see he made 8 saves. That's even more than he made against Bournemouth, when he made 7. To be fair, he also made 7 against West Ham, where we won 3-0. So, but yeah, certainly prevented more goals than he conceded. Passing was okay, and there was one short pass that was misplaced. The other ones were long passes, even though that stat doesn't suggest it. But no one can tell me that pass to Fofana was a long pass. But yeah, he made some strong saves. You can see it here. Goals on shots on target faced, I guess, or XG on target, whatever, was 1.49. He only conceded 1, so that's why he prevented 0.49. I guess that's that. I'll give Sanchez... I'll give him an 8. Is that too high? What do people think? Yeah. I mean, I've seen one person agree, so that's something. Wait, what did I see here? The teams are learning how to play against the 3-2-5 formation. But I don't think that's what the issue was today, personally. I don't know about you, but I don't think that's what the issue. I think the first half was, sure, it wasn't great, but it was okay. The problem was that we conceded that goal. That's the problem. Not how we play. Not that, like, we had plenty of chances. Like, let's quickly finish Santos, then we look at overall chances of the game. But let me quickly finish this one today. I'm not typically angry. Luck is just not on our side today. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. What makes it a nightmare for me is Noni's potential injury, Cobalt's potential injury, Fofana being suspended, and Gusto being suspended. And dropping points alongside that. Those 4-5 things combined, that's what makes it a nightmare Sunday. I think if we start blaming all the individuals like too crazy, I think that's a bit unnecessary. But yeah, JP says 8 or 8.5. Mason even says 9. Fire Red says 8.5. He too made good saves to keep us in the game. No, he did. I'm just not sure if I want to give anyone a 9 when we draw, even though that's obviously not on Sanchez. Now, we conceded from a set piece, but the set piece was so far from our goal. It was basically at the halfway line. And even where, they won the important header. Also, was it even Chris Wood? Because Chris Wood actually tapped it over the line. So that means Gusto wasn't in the aerial duel against Gusto, was he? Against Chris Wood, was he? So it must have been somebody else. Maybe also someone big, but not Chris Wood. I'm going to give him an 8 today. But yeah, I was going to say, can you have any sort of criticism at Sanchez for the set piece happening? Not really. I think they were too far out that he has anything to do with it, even with like commanding and organizing. I don't think that's really on him. I mean, sure, he conceded better. He could tell Gusto drop off a little bit to win that header, maybe, but I can't blame Sanchez for that. I'll give him an 8. You could certainly justify an 8.5, but because we drop points, I don't want to go to, I'll give him an 8.5. Have it then. I mean, there was some really, really, really good saves in there, to be fair to him. There was some really good saves. Let me bring up the FODMOB stats overall, because that is interesting. So if I quickly go to stats, so we had more possession, a lot more possession, which obviously we didn't always have in the last couple of games. We had a lot more XG, 2.27 against 0.85. which despite Sanchez making some very, very good saves, that is much more XG than they had. We had 22 shots, they had 16. We had 8 shots on target, they had 9. But as you can see with the expected goals that came out of it, not many of these on target were particularly big, although in number of big chances, they supposedly had more. Accurate passes, we obviously had a lot more. We committed 1 more foul. We had a lot more corners and then nothing from them, which is really frustrating. I mean, yeah, with more detailed XGs, more details of the shots. Did we hit the woodwork ones? Who hit the woodwork? I don't remember us hitting the woodwork. Can someone tell me how and when we would have hit the woodwork? Ref is main one to blame. Really? I think that's making it a bit easy. What are we blaming the ref for exactly? Can you please tell me that? That would be quite interesting. By the way, since when did our corners become so bad? I haven't seen a decent corner taken in a while. You know, I think we sometimes take decent corners, but when we make decent corners, we never... Like, no one in the middle is good enough to get on the end of them. I don't know. Colwell, Fofana are not that great at it. We don't have a real, like, in terms of heading ability, striker. I know Jackson scored from a corner earlier this season at Wolves, but still. Palmer hit. It was so scuffed. Yeah, he hit the post, did he? Fair enough. That went completely past me. When is Enzo going to stand up and show us something? Well, probably when he starts playing a position that suits him better than what he's playing now. But because that's not going to happen, he's either never going to show us that or he starts getting dropped. But let me get back to the lineup, shall we? And let's talk about the defense. I want to start with Lever Colwell. He also came off. He looked like he had some sort of niggle for a bit longer in the game already. But I thought he was probably our best defender, one of our better players. Well, for the most part, really. He's not at fault for the goal. It was Gusto and then maybe a little bit Caicedo. Passing accuracy was good. His line-breaking passes were strong. I mean, 6 out of 9 long balls is good. Okay, I supposedly had 0 tackles. The duels is all right. I thought it was decent. I'll give Kais, because obviously we still dropped points and we still didn't quite do enough. Could I give him a 7? Probably could, but I don't want to. I don't want to give him a 7. So what I will do is instead, I'll give him a 6.5. Thoughts, people? Thoughts on Liverpool getting a 6.5? Let me know. The amount of time wasting he allows, any time we got flowing, he let them time waste. True. A little heavy set to me. Okay. Interesting take, interesting thoughts. I mean, I'm really intrigued to hear what all of you guys have to say, guys. So please, obviously, share your thoughts in the comments. Be as elaborative as you can. And I know that the fact that it's a live chat makes it tempting to only write quickly because you're like, by the time you'll send it, you've typed it, we're on the next topic. I get that. But yeah, what a game, you say. You're either very easily pleased or, yeah, letting us get fouled. Jackson had hands all over his back all game. Okay. I thought Cole was pretty good. Yeah, I did too. I could say 7, but I don't really want to give him a 7, if that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chelsea eye test. Actually, no. Sorry, I know you said 6.5 is fine, but actually, I will give him that 7 because remember that almost goal line block he had that saved us from a nearly clear goal? At what score was that? Was that 1-1? Or was it actually at 1-0 and we could have gone 2-0 down? But that block, that was world class. And there was even a phenomenal save straight after that, or tackle from him, but the guy ended up being offside, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I'll give him the 7. I'll give him the 7. Made a pretty good block as well. Colwell was great. He deserves man of the match for us. Well, I mean, I think that's clearly Sanchez, but yeah, Fofana crap. I don't really like people. Can you please elaborate? What on earth makes so many in the chat, so many of you in the chat today think that Fofana is so bad, and in particular was so bad today? I really don't see it. I thought he was really good for 99% of this game. Now, the booking was silly, but even that, he kind of had to make, if he doesn't make that foul, you could argue he got sent a little bit, but once he got sent, if he doesn't make that foul, they might score the 2-1, and would you rather, well, I mean, some people are saying, you know, prefer Tosin over Fofana anyway. So you can't be that upset for Fofana being suspended next game, regardless, can you? But yeah, the passing accuracy, okay. Accurate long ball. I thought he won way more than 1 out of 1 tackle. But sure, 2 out of 4 ground duels, 6 out of 8 aerial duels is strong against a team like Forest as well. I will give Fofana, I will give him a little less than Forest. Where was Fofana for the goal we conceded? I mean, I don't know where he was, I'll be honest. But why is... Like, this was a set piece. Like, the people that were in their positions were supposed to be in their positions. The two people that messed up for the goal we conceded are Gusto and Caicedo. Like, they're the two that messed up. Nobody else. Like, Fofana shouldn't have been in that position. Like, that's the whole point of our set piece setup. I mean, I don't think Fofana was bad. Thank you. At least someone thinks so. Where was Tosin for the goals we conceded against Ghent? Exactly. Where was he? Against Ghent. Let's not forget. I mean, before the game, I had that feeling the Forest was going to give us a tough time. I did too, but I still thought we'd win. Why do you want to play Tosin and Coble together? They're both massive. Coble isn't even that massive, if I'm honest. But Fofana is just so much faster than Tosin, which gives us so much help. Fofana was good until the yellow for me. Yeah, no, that's fair. You know, watch a game. How can you prefer Tosin or Fofana? I agree. Yes, 2 blocks, so 7. Fair. Fofana is a bit rash. I think that's why person don't really like him. But Ghent, we had a crap midfield. Right. We didn't. Renato Vega was by far the best player on the pitch that day. By far. And our manager thought the other midfielder, just Adekazana, had a really good game as well. So, I mean, I don't think today he was rash, though. Today, I think he was really successful with being rash, I would have said. Still selfish. I mean, in some situations, I feel that. But in some other situations, he tried to cross and pass, and they just got blocked. One moment, he should have passed it to Enzo. But does anyone really think Enzo would have scored that first time? I don't. And he scored one as well. People, I don't know why people ignore this about Enzo, but I mean, I don't know why I closed the stats for Fofana. My apologies, guys. But if I go back to the lineup sheet, ratings sheet, maybe that's what I should call it. I give Fofana a tad less. I give him a 6.5 because I disagree that he was bad. I don't think it was a fault for the goal. I mean, Coble, to be fair, also got booked, but he got booked in a fight where none of us really know how much he did wrong and how much he didn't wrong. All I know is that they should have had a second man's hands off because how Williams was allowed to stay on the pitch after that tackle on Noni is a disgrace. It's a frank and utter disgrace. But yeah, I'll give Fofana 6.5. You could maybe argue a 6, but I think a 6.5 is fair. Going over to Cucurella today. Don't know what I made of Cucu today. Don't know. Elaborate, guys. What did you make of Marco Cucurella? I mean, passing accuracy is amazing. Only one misplaced pass. That's pretty good going. Okay, crosses aren't great. Tackles 1 out of 2. Oh, the duels aren't good today. That's not like Cucu, is it? 2 out of 6 ground duels. The aerials we're kind of used to, but the ground duels only 2 out of 6. It's not great. And you know what I most kind of missed from Cucu a bit today? He is the one who I believe in tactically. Who I believe. I mean, sure, it's manager instruction, but I feel like he could have pushed a bit more into midfield today. Could have. But because Enzo is in that position, he can't really do it. I don't know. I don't think Cucu did anything wrong except get himself booked. Because Fofana is one thing. Cucurella could, he can, the fact that we're now missing Cucurella at Anfield limits our likelihood of a win so dramatically that I'm really, or even a result, so dramatic I'm really annoyed at him. I'm really annoyed at him for that. So I'm going to say 5.5. Maybe that's a bit harsh considering Fofana got a 6.5. Maybe I should only give him a 6, but that yellow card really annoyed me. And I know Fofana, the same thing applies, but Fofana's yellow card was more understandable that he decided to make that foul in that moment. I felt. So, yeah. Yeah, imagine Tosin against Diaz. Oh my God. Not that I don't think Fofana could also struggle against Diaz, but yeah. It should have been the one inverting in the second half and Gusto sub. I mean, to some extent, I agree with that. But can I quickly elaborate? The reason why we don't do that, it has a pretty simple reason. The reason is Badiashile is awful. That is essentially the main reason. Because if you take Gusto here and you let Cucurella invert here, which I would also like, but because Badiashile is incapable of playing this position, he's incapable of playing anywhere at the moment, that would mean you have to shift Coble to here. And if you shift Coble to here, Coble isn't as influential as he is from here. Now, you could have taken Gusto off for Tosin, played Tosin in the middle here, left Fofana on the right, replaced Tosin, and played it like that. You could have tried that. But you want Coble as the center one. You just want him as the center one. So if Badiashile was better, maybe that does happen. But because Badiashile isn't better, it doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure if everyone agrees, but yeah. We get to Malagusta, who, I'll be honest, guys, I thought Malagusta was a worse player today, even worse than Enzo Fernandez. I'll be honest. I thought he did badly for the goal. I thought, in general, he played way too many poor passes. I thought he gave the ball away too cheaply. I thought he didn't really provide a passing outlet the way he should have done on many occasions. 9 misplaced passes. Okay, it's not like much worse than say Coleman and Fofana, but the kind of pass it was just feels. I just didn't like it. I mean, 5 out of 10 long balls is not bad, but 1 out of 6 crosses. That's what I mean earlier. You just want Gus as the right winger, then you just have a lot of these crosses at the moment, unfortunately. 0 tackles, 1 out of 3 ground duels, 1. Why was he not in more duels? I thought he was poor, man. I thought he was poor. It was probably a 3, unfortunately. Worst game he's had for us. Yeah, probably up there. Disasi for Gusto. Oh my God, do you want to kill me? That is literally the worst thing I've ever heard. I mean, Gusto was poor today, but my God, Disasi? That's the last thing I want. I'll give him a 3.5. I think a 3 is maybe a little low, but I think it's a 4 is a little high. So that's why I go with a 3.5. That's what I'm going with. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you haven't done that yet either. That would be great. And share this stream with more people so we get more people tuning in. That would be nice. Too much inverting. Yeah, but that's not his fault. What am I seeing? Yeah, Vega will do better against him. Better than Cucurella. See, I would have made the case before the game, and in hindsight, I still stand by it, arguably even more so than before the game. I think today we should have just not started Cucurella. I think we should have started Vega because you could have expected Cucurella to get suspended a yellow card tonight. Cucurella gets a yellow card nearly every game. So you could have expected that. So, and because I think the way Liverpool play, the press resistance of Cucurella and the tactical IQ of Cucurella and also the tackling ability of Cucurella, those 3 things would have been incredibly vital against Liverpool. While today, I think the physique and the aerial prowess of Vega would have been more helpful. So I think, if anything, maybe that's a bit of a small mistake on Maresca. I would have just played Vega today. Now, sure, if we win the game and Cucu doesn't get suspended, obviously we sit here and say, amazing decision that he went for it anyway. But really, I think you could have expected Cucurella to get booked today, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I mean, JC says 3 max, fair enough. I'll stick to a 3.5, but I understand why people want to go even lower than that. Moving on to Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo. Moi. Let me get to his stats, shall we? And then we'll maybe have a bit of a better, broader picture. That yellow card, man, it annoyed me. And I'm not even sure if he got the yellow card fully for the tackle or if he also got it for moaning after. And if he got it for moaning after, I just want to punch him because I'm like, bro, the tackle was nowhere near the ball. And he knows that was nowhere near. He must know. If he doesn't know, get the guy some contact lenses, please, because he was miles off the ball. But, I mean, the passing was okay in this position. 59 out of 67 is all right. I mean, the long balls need to be better. 3 out of 0 is poor, but 3 out of 3 tackles is quite good. Not sure how that happens if he gets fouls and gets a yellow card away. How is that not a failed tackle? So these stats are so weird. 3 out of 8 ground duels is shocking. Really shocking for a DM. Oh, bloody hell. If we can't beat Palace and Forest, we have some work to do before title challenge. Yeah, 100%, Robinson. But I'll be honest, anyone that thinks thought we had a real shot at the title this year is a bit of an idiot. I'll be honest. Was so bad during extra time. Was he? Fair enough. By the way, I mean, obviously now it is kind of pointless, but sorry guys that my stream started so late. But the reason for that was is simply that I was still hoping for a winner and that I didn't make the thumbnail and prepare the whole stream and all the tags and the description and the title and everything and the tweet before the game was over. First of all, because if I did it while the game was still going on, I missed the end of the game in terms of important things that happen sometimes. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to do that. But yeah. Caicedo, it wasn't it. It wasn't it in the grand scheme of things. The yellow card, overall, I'm going to give him a 5. Do I think that's fair? No. Yeah, no, I do. No, do I? I'm thinking 5.5 or 5. Ladies and gentlemen, please put it in the chat. What do you think? 5 or 5.5 for Moises Caicedo? And Pete, thank you for the message. Thank you for subscribing. He says, didn't see the game. Were we unlucky or poor? A bit of both. A bit of both. On the one hand, we were unlucky late on. Like Palmer had a double chance, should have scored. Nkunku had a header from a wonderful Mudryk cross that he should have scored. Felix had a header from a wonderful Neto cross that he should have scored. So that was frustrating. But then again, at the same time, Sanchez made 3 really strong saves. So a mix, Pete, a mix. We were both unlucky and poor. Yeah, I think it's a nail on the head. Jay obviously says 5. He already said it before. So, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you would rate Moises Caicedo today. Please let me know in the chat, because if only Jay tells me what he thinks and he says 5, then a 5 it shall be, guys. So I'll give you another couple seconds. But yeah, Caicedo. The one thing I'll give Caicedo today is he had a bit of a tough afternoon in the sense that Gusto next to him had an absolute mare. Enzo in front of him had an absolute mare and wasn't particularly helpful defensively. And Caicedo got himself booked so early that it made his rest of the game very difficult. But there you go. I mean, JC says even 4. Fire Red says 5. There you go. If you need luck to beat Palace, you've been poor. Well, first of all, we beat Forest today. Second of all, no, this is a concept that people don't grasp. See, Man City in the last 4 seasons where they always won the Premier League had a dozen games like this every season. I guarantee it. But just City usually find a way to win. But last week against Newcastle, they drew. Same kind of game. You don't always get the win. It happens. Against Fulham, they were a bit lucky to win it in the end. You know? I think that matters. I think that matters. I think people make too much of a drama when you don't. Like, I know we scored a lot of goals recently and created a lot of chances, but we also had 2.27 XG today. That's not bad. Like, that's really not bad. We didn't take our chances, but it's going to happen. We scored 16 goals in the 4 games before that. Yeah, we aren't ready to win the title. Let's hope we can make top 4, and let's be happy with that. Like, we need to be realistic. Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest. Are they poor? Yeah, exactly. They're top of the league. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, for them, it was also at home. For them, it was at Anfield. And Liverpool are much better at home than we are. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll leave Caicedo with a 5, and we move on up to Enzo Fernandez. And let's have this conversation. I mean, have I seen anything else particularly important or relevant yet on Enzo Fernandez? Okay. No, nothing particularly useful yet on Enzo. So let's just have the conversation together. I know what you said about Gusto, but Enzo worst player on the pitch today. Remember what I said about all phases of play for mids. Enzo not providing on either end of the ball. 2 out of 10, absolute maximum. But wouldn't you argue that exact criticism that you just posed also applies to Gusto? Just even more so because he's supposed to defend, be in midfield and attack? But, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. Maybe we could have given Gusto a 3 because I'm not giving Enzo a lower rating than Gusto. I'm not. I disagree with that. It's -3. Let's look at the stats. Shall we look at the stats? And then we'll continue our kind of together coming to a conclusion. All right. Passing, 86%. Pretty much the same as Caicedo. But obviously in a higher position, so it's a bit more difficult to have that. There's 6 misplaced passes in there. 6. And people are pointing out as if he was the worst player in the world. 6 misplaced passes. Just saying that one more time, highlighting it. Dispossessed, 0 times. 0 times. Accurate long balls, 3 out of 3. Compared to Caicedo's, what was it? 0 out of 3. I'm just saying. Also, that ball to Jackson, very good. Had a successful dribble. Okay, accurate crosses, that's poor. Should be better. But I will say this. Look at this position. Is he a real DM now? But why is he playing crosses? That's my issue with it. Duels 1, more than Caicedo. A lot more than fucking hell, man. This was Caicedo, guys. 3 out of 8. 4 out of 8. It's 1 more. Okay, I'll take it back. I'll take it back on that one. I'll give Enzo a 4. I'll give Enzo a 4 today. I like. Don't get me wrong. I come across like I'm defending him like crazy and like he's my, I don't know, long lost brother. That's not what I'm trying to do. I agree that he wasn't good. I agree. But I just think people overdo it with how bad they think he was. And my take is, when we play these low blocks, there's 2 things we should be doing. One of 2 options. Either you do not start Enzo Fernandez, or you play Enzo Fernandez deeper. Playing Enzo Fernandez in this position against low blocks is a waste of space and time. For me. Because the amount of times when Sancho dropped here and then Enzo makes this run, and I'm like, and now what? Have you ever seen Enzo do anything useful with his left foot? I haven't. So what's Sancho supposed to do? Play to Enzo for him to play a bad cross to Jackson with no power on his weak foot? What's the point? Like, these runs is what needs to stop. Like, I'd much rather Cucurella make that run than Enzo make that run. I really don't see why Maresca is so adamant to do this. Like, I'd rather you just drop Enzo if like, I understand he costs too much money probably to drop, and God knows what the reaction of the owners would be if Enzo Fernandez got dropped longer term. But you either need to find a way to play Enzo deeper, or you need to not play him against these low blocks. They are decoy runs. I get your point, but when he makes decoy runs into space, it's pointless. If he makes decoy runs into tight areas, but dragging other defenders to create space for others, that's good. But when he makes, as you call them, decoy runs into areas that are currently empty, and then therefore he fills a space that we should have an attacker in that can actually hurt the opponent, that's when I don't want Enzo to do that. You know, again, I'm not like the position Enzo plays, you're right. He needs to make those runs. His position needs to make those runs. It's just Enzo Fernandez as an individual, I don't want making those runs, if that makes sense. On Thursday, we inverted from the left. Why not today? Because of the centre-backs, mate. For me. Because of the centre-backs. Because we want Colwell as the central centre-back, and we want Fofana as the right centre-back. And if you invert the other side, but first of all, you don't want Gusto as a centre-back, do you? You don't want that to happen. So, yeah. It's just the centre-back options we have. The real reason is Badiashile not being good enough, because that means if you don't want Colwell as the wide centre-back, you need to play Cucurella there. Yeah. Because I also think she should have just taken Gusto off today. And if Reece James was playing, these issues wouldn't be happening. But because Reece is never there, it's never fit and available, it doesn't happen. Ollie says, I think on Enzo, it's built up frustration. Third year now, we've seen Caicedo improve leaps and bounds. Enzo is worse now than he was on a Potter. We need more from him. No, I agree with you, Ollie. But I just think this is a little bit like playing Pulisic at right wing back and saying he isn't good enough. I think this is a little bit what's happening with Enzo as this number 10 at the moment. And sure, you can say if you don't blame this Enzo, you have to kind of blame the other Enzo because the other Enzo is playing them there. One of the two is at fault here. It's probably a combination of the two, plus on top the transfer fee that's kind of maybe forcing Maresca's hand and keeping him in the team. But yeah, I mean, I want James personally right centre back, but he's not there. You're right. Yeah, no, but you're right. But if you had Reece James, you could play him right centre back. You could play, well, then you would still have to figure out what we do. Maybe with Reece, you could play Reece, Colwell, and Cucurella. Or Reece, Colwell, and Vega, maybe. Because I still don't want Badiashile playing left-sided centre-back in our back three. That scares me. Like, look at the goal we conceded against Ghent. That's why I don't want Badiashile playing that position. And then maybe if you do that with Reece and Cucurella, obviously lacks a bit of height. So that's why it's an issue if I have Reece and Cucurella in the back three. Where's the height coming from? So that's why I'm saying maybe Vega. But if you did that, you could obviously have Enzo and Caicedo as the pivot and not have Enzo playing as a number 10, which is part of the issue, at least for me personally. Why can't we set up like Argentina's midfield? Well, first of all, we have a different manager. Second of all, we have different players. But the biggest reason, Robinson, is the level of international football. Like, and I know they want a World Cup, and I know they want a Copa America, but the pace that those games are played at is just different. And obviously, you need to find a system that works best for your players. It's not working best for Enzo Fernandez, but I think most other players are pretty well represented in the way we're playing right now. Maybe not Gusto, but I think Gusto just had a bad day. I think in general, Gusto actually thrives from this position as well, because I think his crossing is a bit overrated, and actually playing in this position, he crosses less, and that was for me often the most frustrating part about this game last season. I don't think personally, positionally is the reason why he's struggling. He was all over the pitch today in terms of position. He either needs to sit or hold bench. Yeah, but he isn't the one that gets to decide to sit. Only the manager can decide that. Well, or whether he holds the bench. I mean, let's, on that note, I guess, Ollie, let's look at the average positions. Shall we? Is that still open the way it should be? No, of course it isn't. So lineups, average positions. To be fair, you're not even wrong. Enzo Fernandez in this didn't even play that high. So maybe I shifted the whole lineup up, and maybe I need to shift the whole lineup around, and maybe I'm being too nice to Enzo. You know, this average position does change my view. I won't even fully lie to you. Maybe did play more of a 3-3-4 than I was realizing. But nah, I just think Enzo drops when the centre-backs have the ball to receive it, and as soon as we cross the halfway line, Enzo is here. I don't know why the average position is quite so low, but as soon as Enzo crosses the halfway line, he was here. He just was. I'm sorry. Like I'm not blind. I'm not blind. I refuse to believe that Enzo Maresca doesn't play a 3-3-4 against a low block, does he? You know what, guys? I'm gonna do. So bear with me. I'm gonna talk to you while I send the message that I want to send. I'm gonna message Connor Holden. So I'll read it out to you what I'm messaging. Hi, Connor. Me and my chat have a question. I'll start with that. Did we mostly play 3-3-4 or 3-2-4-1 today? Was Enzo more CM or Cam in possession? So he's already replying. He said, what is it? So now I've asked him the question. Let's see what he responds. Hopefully he's seen this. He's seen the actual question as well and didn't press send on that already. There it is. There you go. So what am I seeing here? Jedes Spiel ein Tor. Einfach eine Maschine. Sorry, I just switched to English to German because I got a German text message from somebody else and I just read it out. But thankfully, 95% of you probably do not understand German, so that's fine. What are you looking at? Yeah, so I mean, you say let's move on. I will in a second. I just want to have an opinion on how we were shaped up. So I'm hoping Connor replies in a second because this is very interesting. Was it a 3-3-4? Was it a 3-2-4-1? I would say it felt more like a 3-2-4-1 today. Palmer and Enzo both alternating to form the 3-3-4 and get into those wide pockets of space. I agree. So, thankfully, Connor has validated my opinion, and it was more Enzo because I often felt, and no one can, I don't care what the average positions say. I felt it was more often this than that it was this. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that just me? Because no one can tell me, particularly in the first half. Maybe it changed a little bit in the second half, but in the first half, Madueke got the ball here. Jackson was there, and then it was always Enzo either here or here. Always. Palmer was always somewhere here. Palmer was never in the box, and Sancho was up here. And that's why I felt if we subbed Nkunku on for Enzo, we might have had just better chance of getting a goal because the box presence would have just been, well, full of players that are better at being present in the box. But yeah, again, everyone will have a different opinion, but at least we're gonna agree on that. The dual stats that I've seen of Enzo, I'll rate it down to a 3.5. I'll give it to you guys. I'll give it to Wally. I'll give him the same as Gusto. But I still think people are trying to pile on one individual a bit too much. This is just a collective issue where things just didn't quite go our way. Enzo says, Enzo was very high today. Third manager who can't find where to play, and maybe he's just crap. Yeah, but is a player that starts back-to-back World Cup and Copa America finals for Argentina, is a player like that crap? Realistically. Yeah, Argentina have the Paul and McAllister with Enzo. They cover for Enzo. True. But we have also Caicedo, who could be doing that. Now they play midfield 3, which helps. But if you would want to argue it, right, and it wasn't. But if you would want to argue that it was more of a midfield 3 and then a 4 in front of that, then you have a midfield 3. And Caicedo and Gusto can do more than enough covering. Can do more than enough the job that McAllister and DePaul do. More than enough they can do that. So why aren't they doing it? I think it's just too easy to just say Enzo's crap, or Enzo is this, or Enzo is that. System player, but what just Argentina system. I think it's a bit easy that. Cucurella played better than Fofana. I first of all, I slightly disagree, but mostly Cucurella's yellow card was unnecessary and stupid. Fofana's wasn't, and that's mostly it, because when you're on 4 yellows, our next game is away at Anfield. Don't get yourself booked. That's all I'm saying. Enzo was in a pivot. What would be the ideal pivot against the low block? Enzo was not in a pivot. Hi, LV. Just rate Nico Jackson minus 0.10. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. I guess what explains him being decent for them and poor for us. Well, I think not playing him in position, because when we played him in position, I know it was Potter. When we played him where he looks good for Argentina and where he looked good for us, and he hasn't been allowed to play there under Poch or under Potter now, he looks better. But that's why I always gone about, did we really, after we had already signed Enzo, did we need Caicedo and Lavia? It's just not great squad planning. Or just don't sign Enzo and only buy Caicedo and Lavia. That would have also been fine. but you had already bought Enzo. So, yeah. How many good games has he had from the start of the season? Oh, I don't know. Which makes him a system player. Or just our system doesn't work for him, but there is many systems where he could work. Couldn't that also still be applicable? I would say so. Once again, scapegoating Enzo Fernandez. This fan base will never change. Yeah, I kind of feel that as well. Like, I don't know why we need to scapegoat any individuals today. Like, it's just happened. So let's move on. I think we've spent enough time talking about Enzo Fernandez today. Let's talk about Cole Palmer. And then we bring up Cole Palmer's stats. Supposedly got man of the match with that one assist that he got. Obviously, to Noni Madueke, didn't even realize he got that assist, if I'm being honest. So, Cole Palmer keeps his goals and assists ratios going. So that's nice, I suppose. 85% passing accuracy in this position is actually very impressive, to be fair. 2 out of 4 shots. Should have scored. Like, let's be real, that double chance he had at the end, he should have scored one of those. He should have done. Successful dribble, bloody hell, 0 out of 7 crosses. Fuck me, Cole. That needs to be better, man. There was a lot of poor balls today from Cole, I can't lie. Accurate long balls, okay, at least 2 out of 3 is good. Tackles, duels, all of those are strong. So I think Palmer gets... I'm thinking that 5.5 or 6 is what I'm thinking. Ollie Palmer was invisible today. His standards must be higher. I kind of agree. He didn't do much. I'd probably give him a 6. His passing to the final third was decent. Yeah, sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. It's a tricky one. For me, Cole Palmer looked like today how we changed the team. 11 changes every midweek. That's what we do at the moment. And I think sometimes you also notice about us a little bit why players like Frank Lampard, John Terry, Didier Drogba, Ashley Cole, back in those days, sure, there was less games over a season, but why they always wanted to play every game. Because this midweek game rhythm keeps your rhythm higher, and it really does. So I think he was feeling that a little bit today, particularly in the first half. I don't really think I honestly think he doesn't really fit in the team. I assume you mean Enzo. Best player in the world, best in the world, better than Hazard, Cole, Palmer. People need to chill. They do need to chill. He just didn't have his best game today. It happens. Yeah, you know what? I'll actually agree with Ollie. By Cole Palmer standards, I'll give it a 5.5. Everybody else, for what Cole Palmer did today, would get a 6. Maybe that's harsh, but that's how good Cole is. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I want to do Sancho first, and then we'll get to Madueke. Let me bring up the stats for Sancho, so we can look at those. I personally felt that Sancho was decent today. I really did think so. It was surprising because he was replaced by Mudryk, and Mudryk did a lot as well. But passing's okay. 82%. Expected assist 0.26. So that's that. He didn't have near expected goals because nothing added to it. 3 out of 3 successful dribbles. Certainly the best of the game, that's for sure. Won a tackle. The duel ratio is quite decent. I'll give Sancho a 6.5. Do you think that's too? Do people think that's too high for Sancho? He was the second best attacker behind Noni. Is that for Sancho now? Yeah, I think 6.5 is okay for Sancho. I think he was ever so slightly above average. Ever so slightly above average is what I would suggest and say. I thought the way he dribbled Olaina was good. Olaina is an incredible defender. Love him and miss him. Credible against the 1-on-1, and Sancho made him look silly at times. Sancho didn't find the pass yet. I think if Sancho with Nkunku works better than Sancho with Jackson in terms of the way Nkunku likes to move around Sancho, he's easier to find for him than Jackson is. But I thought Sancho was decent. I thought Sancho was lively. I thought Sancho was trying to create. Sancho was trying to go past people. Sancho was trying to make things happen. He's not the guy that goes for goal, which sometimes is a bit of a shame. Sometimes Sancho reminds me a lot of Hazard, but even less with an ambition to score. Like even less than Hazard obviously had it. I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good as Hazard. I'm saying the way he plays. But he plays very similarly, but then doesn't go for the goal. He likes to play it off and let someone else do the shooting. Maybe that's confidence. Maybe it will change. But for now, that's what I'm seeing from Jadon Sancho. And I'll come to Noni Madueke. I'll open the stats up as well. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, appreciate you all. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that like button. Now, he got injured, which is the biggest nightmare. So, people that want him dropped, guys, you're dropping him if he doesn't get fit. I feel bad for him. Obviously, he made his debut for England, got his first assist for England last international break. He was called up again, probably would have featured. Now maybe injured. So that's obviously annoying. But he scored. a good goal. Took an ever so slight deflection, but it's a good goal still. A good pass completion with 27 out of 32 passes. That's good. Shot accuracy should be a bit better. He had some shots of his right foot that were poor. He had some shots of his left foot that went way wide. It should be a little bit better. This dribbles though, 3 out of 5 is good. Crosses, at least he completed one. Do you know what I mean? Many in the team didn't complete a single one. 2 out of 3 tackles is good as well. 7 out of 13 duels is good. Let's call it good, especially in, he won more duels than he lost, as you can see here. Won 8, lost 6 overall in the game. Now, let's talk about the selfishness. How many people in here say 1 if you think Noni Madueke is selfish, say 2 if you don't think he is? Because I think what people call selfishness from Madueke is partly a little bit of selfishness. On some situations, I do agree with it. But I do think in some situations, it's also instruction. I do think it's instruction. I do think the way Sancho is too unselfish and passes it too much, and Sancho should sometimes shoot, the same way Madueke does the opposite, where Sancho goes for shots sometimes when maybe he shouldn't. But I think that's kind of his role in the team. He's supposed to be doing that. And I think the manager, like the way Enzo Maresca is, I think if Enzo Maresca didn't like the amount of times Noni would shoot, rather than laying it off, I think then Noni Madueke wouldn't be starting every week and wouldn't be staying on the pitch as long as he does every game, if the manager would have an issue with it. And that tells me he's not selfish, it's instruction. That's what it tells me. Because even last week, I felt against Brighton that stigma was harsh on him, because he did lay it off on a couple of occasions. Sometimes the teammates messed it up. Once he was ever so slightly offside, so he didn't get an assist. And sure, sometimes he shoots, but it's part of it. I liked it about Noni. I mean, think back, guys. How many years have we had the Kai Havertz? Even Mount did like to shoot unnecessarily sometimes as well, but in particular Havertz, who was that kind of player, and he was obviously our striker, and he never went for the goal. He always liked to lay it off, a bit like Giroud, right? Always like to lay it off. I love that we have one player in a team that will always look for the goal. I love that. Especially the one few times that he doesn't go for the goal, it makes it so much, because he's so good of his left foot. A bit like Ian Robert, where he will cut inside and you can't really stop him. Now, his following shot might not be that great, but people very, very rarely do defenders take the ball off him when he cuts on his left. But because he does it, let's say 7 or 8 out of 10 times, the one time he goes on his right to then cut it back gives him a much better chance to make it happen. So I really don't mind it. I think he scored. I do think he was a bit more frustrating than Sancho in moments. It's not like I disagree with people that he shouldn't have shot sometimes, or that I think in situations where he did shoot, it should just be a better shot. But I don't think you can just call him selfish. I think that's a bit too simple. What I didn't like is just don't have bad shots. But I don't mind you shooting. That's not my issue. And the goal was good. I still give him 6.5. Is that harsh to give him the same as Sancho? Do people think it's harsh to give him the same as Sancho? I've seen a few 7s. I've seen a 6.5. I've seen a 6.5. I've seen a 7 as well. I've seen a couple of 2s. I've seen a couple of 1s. Wait, did I say 2 for selfish or 2 for not selfish? I forgot now. Brilliant. Got us the equaliser. Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should give him just the 7 and not be too critical. And give him the 7. I guess maybe it is fair. Yeah, have that 7 on. Nicholas Jackson. Now, Nicholas Jackson was a tricky one for me. He kind of had one moment, and he didn't. Yeah, he just didn't quite make it through. He just didn't quite make it happen. Let's look at his stats as well, shall we, guys? You agree, Oli? Goal was the only good thing he did today, really? Was it? I think he provided the most threat. He was taking people on. He was trying cutbacks, and the cutbacks, sometimes at the last second, they got intercepted. And if the cutbacks come through, they're a goal. Like that's sometimes how it goes, no? Like against the low block. Do you really want us to cross every time? Because I don't want to see that. But yeah, let's talk about Jackson. Now, yeah, Ete says it in discipline, Nico Jackson. Was he? I mean, himself, no. He maybe created a bit more. But again, different roles in the team for me. But yeah, that indiscipline is potentially an issue. We don't know yet if that will lead to something. My apologies. But we'll see. Obviously, that would lower his rating. But for now, because I haven't seen a clip of it, shall I look? You know what? I'll quickly look at it on my phone, guys, and see if I can find that clip of Jackson slap. Let's see if Twitter shows me something on that. If I could type, that would help. Where is Jackson? Where is Jackson here? I see a whole video, but I can't even see Jackson. I mean, I've seen it now. He's done a little bit of a thing. I reckon I can even show that, you know. I will bring it up now. Because it's not really proper in-game footage of anything. So I'll try to get this up. I'll get it here. I'll show it to you guys on screen and see what you guys think of this potential slap or not slap. Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? Sorry, Nathan. Full screen. I'll turn the sound off. See, you can see. I'll just let it play on repeat. Jackson is here. That's him in the jacket. He was already subbed off. And he goes like after that guy a little bit. I mean, he does kind of push him in the face, but it's not a slap. I don't know. He probably gets banned, doesn't he? Seeing it, he probably does get banned for that. Oh my God, Nicholas and his temper. Yeah, because Jackson was also only 2 yellows from a suspension. By the way, it's not like he's far off. It's not like Cucurella and Fofana are the only ones that get too many. Jackson put in the thriller performance. Scary. Yeah, yeah. Let's open his stats and see what we make of that. We'll just have to see whether he gets suspended or not. Passing, only misplaced 2. That's good. Shooting, 1 out of 1. I don't remember the time he did shoot, if I'm honest. But fair. Probably the one where we steal the ball off them. Noni waits then. And God knows how he didn't score. 2 out of 2 successful dribbles. 1 out of 1 tackle. 3 out of 5 duels. 1 out of 4 aerial duels. Okay, but against Forest. Touches, 29. He wasn't that involved. I'll give Jackson... he doesn't need to do that. But then again, we don't know what was said, what was done. What needs to happen is the managers need to stamp out these kind of actions from the opponents. Nah, this is still bad on Jackson. But, you know, if the team would feel, that the referees will adapt this accurately and judge this accurately and give bad ratings when necessary and give red cards when necessary, maybe it would happen. But yeah, FYI, Nkunku missed his hits today. Will he get the Jackson treatment? No, of course he won't. Of course he won't. And people will say, Nkunku is much better against low blocks. I had so many comments like that on Twitter during the game. And I'm just like, did you see Nkunku? He had 1 chance. To be fair, Jackson didn't have a single real chance. But Nkunku barely touched the ball otherwise. We'll get into his stats. But I'll give Jackson a 5.5. I don't think it was shocking. I think it was more just the type of game it was. That the striker will never be involved much. So I'll give him just on the average. You know what, man? I'll give him a 5. I think he could do a bit better, especially that one nice over-the-top ball from Enzo. I just think he should have done better with that. So I'll give him a 5. Is that harsh? Do people think it's harsh? 4.5. Not a good game from Jackson. 5 tops, barely involved today. Yeah, exactly. No, he was barely involved. And I use this excuse for Hubbard all the time as well. When we play low blocks and we struggle to put the ball into our striker's feet because the opponent have 10 men behind the ball and around the striker, that doesn't mean the striker was bad. It just means the way the opponent set up, you don't involve your striker as much. Yeah. But, yeah. Let's do a sub, shall we? Can you look up if the injuries are true or not? I mean, okay. I'll look it up. I'll check Madueke injury. Let me tweet search that. Okay. We have great news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have fantastic news. Our Sunday nightmare got ever so slightly less bad. Maresca on Colwell and Madueke injury concerns. I think they are both okay when they went inside. I have not seen them, but I think they are okay. So let's see. Maybe all that means is they're not badly injured. Could be that. But yeah, he was asked about, the yellow cards, blah, blah, blah. And Maresca, well, you can see it there. Enzo Maresca has no concerns over discipline. I like the way the team is fighting. I don't see any problem with that. He is worried about the fine or Fofana and Cucurella being out for the next game. I like the spirit of the team. If you ask me about the team spirit and the way they are fighting together, I am very happy. And I'm very happy about that as well. Just Cucurella should have been a bit smarter. And I can still make an argument that you shouldn't have started Cucurella today and just gone with Vega because you could have known that he would have got injured. But yeah, at least it's something. Hopefully the injuries aren't too bad. So that is maybe one positive thing. Let me quickly head over back to FOTMob so we can look at all of our subs. We brought on Nkunku. Why does it show it so weirdly here? Can I not go to facts? Yes, so there we can see all the subs. All right. So we made our first set of subs after 81 minutes. So that's why people are complaining. That happened late, right? We then replaced Jackson with Nkunku. We replaced Enzo Fernandez with Joao Felix. Then we made the next double sub at 90 for the Madueke injury, and also Mudryk coming on for Sancho. And then at the very end, again, slightly through injury, Tosin coming on for Levi Colwill. So again, back to the lineup sheet so I can write them all down, and then we'll look at the stats of the subs. Nkunku for Jackson, Felix for Enzo, Mudryk for Sancho, Neto for Madueke, and Tosin for Colwill. Let's do it like this. And yeah, there you go. I mean, let's look at Nkunku. Let me bring up PopMob again. Sorry, well, it's kind of the point, isn't it? I have to jump between things. I hope you don't mind. Lineup. Let's quickly look at the subs. Where is it? Come on, go away. Nkunku, he had, in his 9 minutes, had how many touches? Where's the touches? 9 touches. 9 touches in 9 minutes. So, you know, 1 per minute. Yeah, he essentially only had his chance and he bottled it. So it's not great. I'm not particularly happy. Who was our next sub? Joao Felix. Let's look at him. Also played 9 minutes. Had 15 touches. 8 of 9 passes. So that's something. Nkunku didn't even have a pass. But also missed the sit and bottled it. So both of them bottled a huge chance. Okay, as you can see, the position of the header was much more difficult for Joao Felix than it was for Nkunku, but he still should have done a little bit better. But he did better than Nkunku, you know. I know Nkunku got it on target, but still, I feel like Felix was closer to scoring than Nkunku was. Mudryk, by the way, only came on in the 90th minute, and I know obviously there was 30 minutes of stoppage time, still played a fair bit. But he actually had a good game. He looked dangerous. That run, the cross to Nkunku, the run from all the way at the back, the pace, the determination, the quality of the cross, phenomenal. We look at the crossing stat. Well, 1 out of 2 successful crosses. So I thought he had a good cameo. Surprised me. I was positively surprised. Neto also had 1 phenomenal cross. 6 out of 6 passes. That's good going. 2 out of 4 crosses successful. Nothing good otherwise. I know successful dribbles, but yeah. He had the great cross to Felix. Mudryk had the great cross to Nkunku. Both should have had an assist. Yeah, and obviously there's not much to say for Tosin. He didn't have any duels. He just had 8 simple passes. So I go back to the lineup. I'll do emojis for these guys. Maybe we should do that in future. The subs get emojis. I'll go with this one, and I'll go with this one, and I'll go with. What if I can you see my thing here? No, you can't. I think. So what emoji shall I use for him? A clap emoji. How about that? Did good. Neto gets the same. And Tosin just gets an NA. I know I made this up completely on the spot. That I'm giving them emojis, but yeah, that's all I'm saying. Okay, let me check back on some messages. JC says, I agree. Cucurella should not play today. Mudryk come back. We will be there. I hope so. He was good today. It's good. Is there a combination of whether Jackson was captured on camera throwing a punch? Well, yeah, I actually just showed it, Bobby. If you go back a few minutes in the stream, I actually showed it, so you can see it there. The only reason Mudryk was not shit today is because he came on so late, hence don't have enough time to show about. No, that's not true. He was good against Ghent as well. He was good against Ghent. Nkunku was showing for the ball a lot. Had 1 chance. He needed longer to make an impact, in my opinion. Was he showing for the ball a lot? I agree that he needed longer. I agree with that. But he had 1 moment and he bought the same level of chance as he did against West Ham. So no one can tell me you want Nkunku starting against these low blocks over Jackson. You can want them to start together. I think that could be a big change in us scoring as much. But I don't think you can say Nkunku should be starting over him. Back to the Conference League for them. Sure. It was absolutely criminal for Maresca to Felix and Nkunku only came in the 80th minute. Yeah. I unfortunately do agree. And I guess the last one to finish it off with is the rating for Mr. Maresca. Let me think it through. I think the subs came too late, but I'm not going to take a full point off because I think there's some was reason behind it, just timings of when things happen. He decided, okay, the first half wasn't that bad. Let me give it another 5 to 10 minutes in the second half before I make a sub. But then we conceded after 50. So then he let us react because we needed to, first of all, weather the storm that we were initially under after their goal. Then we equalized, and then straight after you equalize, you don't make a sub. But then he waited too long. The sub should have had the latest happen after 70 and not only after 80. I think picking Cucurella today, even though I get it, I think in hindsight, and sure, hindsight is a funny thing, but I said this beforehand, and in hindsight, I was just proven right. I was not happy with that decision. Should have just played Vega, saved Cucurella, and had him available for Anfield. Playing Enzo in this position against low blocks is not it. Either you play him deep or you don't play him at all. So even though I don't think it's Maresca's fault, I'm giving Maresca 5.5, ever so slightly below average. But also, let me quickly check his name. Chelsea set piece coach Cueva. Bernardo Cueva. So we hired him. He's Mexican. We hired him from Brentford. Supposedly, we paid around £750,000 to get him out of Brentford. And we are terrible at defending set pieces. Absolutely terrible at defending set pieces. And that needs to change, because that's the problem. We concede from set pieces nearly every game. We conceded from a set piece from the halfway line today. Sure, you can blame the players, but really? Like, is it only the players being bad? Is it really that simple? I don't know, man. I'm annoyed by that. I could maybe go lower. Ollie says give him a 4. Fernando says give him a 5. Farseed says give him a 6. JC says 5 because we were poor and unlucky at the same time. Yeah, we're poor and unlucky at the same time. I do agree with that. Against Ghent, mate, he was literally spoon-fed by Vega. That can't happen every game. Well, it can. Madueke is spoon-fed by Gusto and by Palmer every single game. Just because Enzo never passes to Mudryk doesn't mean that when Vega does that, this is a bad thing on Mudryk. I think Enzo Fernandez was so poor today, I would have started Live and Caicedo midfield against Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool is a whole different topic. Maybe against Liverpool, we'll play all 3 anyway. I wouldn't be shocked by that, like we did against City. But let's see what we do and let's see how it happens. You know what? I will change my rating for Maresca to a 5 rather than a 5.5. I'll give him a 5. Yeah, it's just a shame today. And obviously, if Tosin isn't injured, can't speak and think. If Colwell and Madueke are not injured, it's good. And it's not that bad. But the 2 suspensions that we, suffered today, really frustrating, really annoying. Really frustrating and really annoying. Now, that's all I can really say on that. But yeah, at the end of today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this one up now. Subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, please do check out mine and Pyce's podcast, Chelsea Unfiltered. New episodes every single Tuesday. Of course, a new episode this coming Tuesday in 2 days. Speaking about this game, also speaking about the Ghent game as well, of course, because we upload every Tuesday. So there you go. That makes sense. The link to the very latest episode is down in the description below from last Tuesday. So speaking essentially about... actually only the Brighton game, because we covered the Barrow game in the episode before that. So yeah, check out that. Spotify, Apple Podcast. If you're on either of those platforms, you can check it out. If you have other podcast platforms that you would rather listen to, let us know. Then we can evaluate, is it worth us putting it on all those other platforms as well. But while we're not hearing anyone, I wish I could listen, but you don't upload on this platform, we're going to, I think, stick to Spotify and Apple Podcasts for now. But yeah, get involved on that. Yeah, and it is time to see how good Vega is. I don't think a single manager can find a way to fit Enzo in this team. He seems lost on the pitch, in my opinion. But do you see him as a number 10? And that's what he's playing at the moment. Do you see him as that? Do you see the guy with the best long ball and through ball ratio in the Premier League as a number 10? And that's what he's playing. You prefer it on YouTube. Yeah, but I can't really upload a podcast on YouTube, not an audio form podcast, unfortunately. Apple Podcast is free, though. So, I mean, maybe on Android, I guess. But you can listen to it on Spotify. You don't have to have Spotify Premium to listen. But I appreciate that input, JC, regardless. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. It would be massively appreciated. Like I say, check out the podcast. Check out my social media. Link is down in the description, particularly on Twitter. You can see the here at Last1507. Type that on Twitter. Spotify shit. Okay, fair enough. Really wish we got Amadou Onana. He would fit in and be a big presence. We need to find a Patrick Vieira type. If only it was that easy. I just don't think Patrick Vieira types work that way anymore. Does City have a Patrick Vieira type? I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, maybe Declan Rice is a little bit like that, at least physically. But yeah, it is what it is. Up the Chelsea, Sammy. Up the Chelsea. Appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in today. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I'm frustrated today, you know? Like, we could have so easily won that. I was really having faith. I was really optimistic. I was confident going into the game. And that set-piece goal again. And then we get an equaliser quick and we just can't get it over the line. The time wasted that the refs do nothing about. They kick the living shit out of us. We injure our players. They get yellow cards. And somehow we get 3 yellow cards in the same action. Might have a suspension for Jackson. I mean, sure, they maybe overdid it. But, my God, fucking hell. Please, guys, get it over the line. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. Upwards and onwards. Backwards and downwards a little bit today. And I will. See you next time.